Throughout your years of experience, how can you tell when a motor is being held back by its stock turbo or supercharger, or when it has potential to do more? I mean, this is an easy one. The turbo or supercharger or the power adder device simply cannot continue to increase.
Yeah.
It's typically it's boost pressure
Right.
per given application. So
Yeah, and we can see that normally with whatever platform it's on, we'll either sensor up the vehicle as needed or use the data we have at hand to determine kind of where the hardware is becoming the limitation versus something we can manipulate in software. So with these smaller turbos, you can pretty quickly see where they're running out of steam by doing some just some quick data review.
yeah.
How hard are we driving the wastegate on this thing? How much
Hmm.
power and or boost are we getting as a result of it? Then you got to go back through. Is there some other factor in the motor that might be holding it back? Is it cams? Is it, you know, some other airflow modification we need to make? But it's pretty quick. You can get a pretty quick picture, in a day or two where things are going to start being your limitations.
Yeah, I mean, imagine you have like an electric hoist and you're you're picking up different heavy things, and the electric hoist can pick up 100 pounds, but when you try to pick up a 300-pound thing, it just goes and then nothing happens. It's now that hoist is maxed out. So it's the same thing with stock turbo, where you're like, make 200 horsepower, make 250 horsepower, make 300, make 325. They can't do it. And you'll just slowly see the power output drop as you increase the boost to a point where the wastegate is functioning at 100% duty cycle, so it's closed. All the engine's output is going through the turbo. And so the turbo is literally producing 100% of its flow and pressure capability. And let's say you're at 24 psi. So you're at the max that turbo can do. Now you take that turbo off and you put a 2000 horsepower Garrett GT 50R on it. Now that turbo, where the stock turbo could only say produce 24 psi, this GT50R, it could probably get to like 70 psi, because it has so much more flow capability. So it's actually pretty common on stock turbos to basically run them at
Yeah,
100%.
it depends on the turbo and the
Yeah.
motor. Some motors and some turbo setups they can become a pretty big choke point,
Yeah.
and it's called your EMAP, your exhaust manifold pressure. What's inside the exhaust manifold gets to a point where it's much higher than some situations you'll want to be in. So
Yeah.
you get valve float or valve sealing issues at that point. But most of these turbos honestly are close to pegged.
Stage one is
If it's a
typically
small stock turbo.
even Daza though, or I
Yeah,
mean,
no, DASA at the top
when
end's
when people
pegged.
are like, "Oh, does your Daza tuning make as much power as the other?" It's like
Dude, it's out of
it's
spec. Like,
100%.
yeah, it's 100% from
The
like
wastegate's
5 grand
closed.
on or whatever it is on that. But yeah, we
The
manage.
turbo's doing as much as it can
It's a
do.
great
So,
turbo. We manage the
yeah,
boost.
it is really
What
good.
we can get out of it in the mid range just to save the rods.
Hmm.
But yeah, the top end on pretty much every tune out there is going to be near or is pegged.
But yeah, there's no
So yeah,
you're not going to make more power than our tune on the stock turbo.
right.
It's just not going to happen. Uh, and then there's been well-known tuners in the past who just basically disconnected the wastegate functionality from the ECU.
Yeah,
It's just 100% all the
yeah.
time.
People have tried all kinds of crazy things.
Yeah.
So yeah.